So we are going to discuss a topic which is, according to me and according to a lot of people that I know who deal with the subject that we popularly know as costing, right? They say this is one of their favorite subjects. And in ACCA, we have this paper in the name of performance management. And today we are going to discuss a little bit more about how this paper goes, what do we have in this paper, what is the syllabus, and how to approach this, what is the exam pattern, and what are the some of the things that we do wrong when we study this topic. And let us also discuss about how we are going to approach this subject in the coming days and how we are going to learn it, right? So first of all, I welcome you all to this session, and I'm very happy that you have taken this step to go through ACCA as your career, and this is going to add a lot of value to your career. Let me be very honest with you. And a small introduction about myself: I'm CA Frenil D'souza. I am teaching from the past 8+ years. I have taught, all around 18 to 19 batches of ACCA for performance management alone. And I have taught this subject in the higher level as advanced performance management also in the final level. So let me get to the subject, and let me tell you more about how this goes and what goes behind it. So coming to this, the subject that we are learning, that is performance management, is a skill level paper. Okay. And we can see that there are other skill level papers as well. And we have highlighted performance management for that reason, that we are going to learn this in my classroom. And we are going to take a different approach. What is that approach? I'm going to explain to you on a later stage. Now, while learning any of the topics, if at all you're familiar with any of the professional courses, we do think about what are the connected subjects, like, what is that subjects that I can learn together, or which subject will complement which subject in the coming stages, upcoming stages, or what. For example, if you look at chartered accountancy subject, you can see that auditing and law are connected, right? So you can study them together. At the same time, the topics like audit, law, accounts, they repeat in each stages. That is whether it is foundation level, inter-level, or final level. Just like that, you can see this subject, which is performance management, which is currently there, what we are learning in the skill level, but it is there in the previous level as well as the next level, right? So if you look at it very carefully, it's called management accounting, then it is performance management, then it is APM at the P level. Okay, that is the professional level of examinations. Now, it's very interesting that rest of the topics are also connected, okay, which we are not going to deal with in this class, but you have to understand that in professional topics, how it works is, we do get certain, topics in lesser depth or more of a calculation or conceptual in the beginning. Okay, then we go on to the higher stages to only learn it in a more depth. Okay, we are going to learn it in more depth and more applied level, I would say. Okay, ACCA, for all the papers for that matter, as far as I have taught a lot of students across India. I have taught a lot of students from Bombay. I've taken online classes, as well as I have taken live physical classes in a lot of parts of Kerala, Cochin as well. And one thing that I observe about ACCA subjects is that it is more of applied level than calculation. Okay, I'm not saying that there is no calculation per se. There's a lot of calculation which needs to be done, but it is nowhere in comparison, okay, when you see about any other professional topics. Here, the concepts and the applied concepts becomes more important, even in a practical subject such as performance management. And whenever we are going to go through this subject, okay, I'm going to tell you every time whenever you have to explain a topic in depth, okay, and why that certain question is asked in certain way and how the answers are expected out of you. I'm going to cover all those aspects as well, right? So let me go further, and let me talk about the biggest downfall, I would say, about this topic whenever performance management is being talked about. The problem here is, if you compare the pass percentage of all the subjects, right, you see that the constant underperformers in pass rate are these two papers, which is performance management, and here, okay, you can see auditing as a topic, which the pass rates are constantly lesser. Okay, But sometimes it is lesser in terms of this paper, and sometimes it's lesser in terms of performance management. All in all, you can say these two topics are little more challenging for the students for some reason. And the reason that why people score less, okay, I'm going to cover in the coming slides, so just bear with me. So for what you have to observe here in this slide is that the pass rate is not very promising, okay, when it comes to performance management. The reason for that is what? The practical approach taken by the students is not very appropriate. I have students who have scored very high marks in performance management, even in the skill level as well as in the final level. The reason for that is a different approach that we take. And at Indigo Learn, we have woven this topic into really good discussion, as well as a way of applied theory kind of a teaching, okay, which you will experience in the coming classes, right? So you don't need to worry about the topic pass rate being lesser than the other subjects. That is totally, and it's completely depending upon how a person approaches a topic and how he revises a particular topic. And unless and until that there is no guidance, okay, anybody will make a mistake. But when you have a proper guidance, we have a proper team who will sit and solve questions for you. You have me, where I will go through each and every question, and I'll tell you how to approach a question, how to read a question, how to reread a question, how to map your answers in your brain, right, before you write it in the paper. I'm going to cover all those aspects, so you have nothing to worry about. This is just like any other paper. Probably you'll score higher marks in this topic than the other papers, and I'll make sure of that. You don't have to worry about it. Next, coming to it. Now, whenever you're writing exams, you have to make sure that you have to choose exams that are complementing each other. Okay. So I would say that when you're writing performance management, if at all you are planning to write two papers together, okay, so whether you should do that or not, it is completely depending upon your preferences. ACCA, as we know, it allows a very good way of a leisure, I could say, that you can choose to write one paper at a time, okay, and your exams are repeating every 3 months, so you don't have to worry anything about losing out on a particular attempt, because even if you lose out, you can attempt two papers at once. But what I think from my knowledge of teaching for so many students over so many years is that if you approach a paper, okay, and you have enough time to approach that paper, the enough time can be defined as let us say anywhere around a month to revise after your classes is good enough for a paper like performance management, in my opinion. But if you have more time, you can actually score better, okay, that is something which you can absolutely do. And if you're working and you're studying for topics in ACCA, then I prefer that you should go for a paper. But you have enough time, you have finished coaching well before in time, then in that case you have to make sure that you attempt maybe one or two papers. But when you are selecting two papers, let us say you're selecting one extra paper, at that time please make sure that you select papers which are complementing each other. Now, complementing could mean different things, okay. One, the topics which are connected to each other. Second, the topics which are more conveniently understood by you, okay. I am talking about topics which are interconnected, okay. You can see that here we have something called as performance management and law, performance management and taxation, performance management and financial management, okay. So if you're looking at two different practical subjects where you can approach a lot of sums, at the same time you like applied theory, at that time you can go for this, right. I usually suggest my students to go for that. And there are some other factors as well based on your interest which can drive this, okay. There is no hard and fast rule as to you how to write this paper with this paper, no. Like, it depends upon your comfort level also. We'll just tell you which papers are connected well, and you can attempt those papers if you have enough time. So that is with regard to this. So let me go to the next slide, where I will be telling you in broad sense, okay, I'm going to cover this in deeper sense also, as to what is the syllabus, what are we going to learn in performance management, right? So that is some question that we have to answer, because see, the approach to any kind of study, okay, the very wrong approach that student does is he opens the book, okay, and starts with lesson one, okay. Wrong approach. Okay, first of all, you need to know a outline to the subject. If you do not know the outline to the subject, you tend to make a lot of mistakes. So what are we trying to do in this small session of today is that I'm trying to put a proper boundaries and outline. See, look, this is the subject, this is the syllabus, and this is the boundary that we have got, and outside this boundary we are not going to get anything. At that time, what happens, the entire way of looking at this subject and learning this subject will become more objective, and that is what our motive should be, right? So we have to make sure that, okay, I know that this is what is going to be asked in the exam. Okay, this is my syllabus, and once I know this, then I will start approaching towards it. Okay, and then I can appreciate how much I finish. Okay, if you just open your book and say lesson number 1, and if you start reading lesson number 1, I finished lesson number 2, you don't know how much else is pending. Then at the after finishing lesson number 4, you come to know that lesson number 8 is connected to lesson number 4, and then from 4 you jump to 8, from 8 you jump to 5, right? Total confusion, total confusion. At the end of the day, you don't know how much percentage of syllabus that you have covered. You're totally confused in your head, which we are trying to avoid. So what is there in your performance management? Let's put a proper boundary. Look, first, you have something called as information technologies and systems for organization performance. Now, before that, let me tell you, there's a small part that we cover, okay, as a part for students who have come from management accounting background. That is, if you have done the foundation levels, the initial levels, and you're taken, you're given the management accounting paper. And in that paper, what you had studied, we are going to revise it a little before you go into the subject, and that is a part of the study material which we are going to provide you as well. So other than that, okay, other than the small revision, which I'm going to definitely cover because that is what I have planned for the rest of the session, but that is for a simple reason that those who come from management accounting, usually what happens is, if at all you have degrees, there are a lot of exemptions and all. Many people might have skipped those papers, but just for the sake of knowing what was there, and for the sake of students, those who have actually given these exams and come forward, I'm going to revise that a little bit for them so that it won't be too heavy, and they should not be thinking that this performance management paper is way too difficult. Or if I just take them through what they had studied and tell them what is going to come next, probably they'll be more confident in attempting this paper rather than skipping this paper and going for something else, right? So after that, the first thing that we are going to learn in performance management is information, technologies, and systems for organization performance. So I'm going to tell you something about information systems. Okay. Now, when I say information systems, your mind might directly jump and say that, no, sir, we are learning about computers. We are not learning about computers. Although information technology does mean the involvement of computers, information systems doesn't necessarily mean the involvement of systems, involvement of technology per se. Okay, the reason for that is information systems are developed to make sure that a certain information reaches from place 1 to place B. Okay, now the reason for that is what? A certain amount of data, which is, for example, let us just take an example, right? So here is the head office, okay, and this head office is located in Delhi, okay, and I have branches. I have branches in Bombay, I have branches in Bangalore, and I have branches in let us say Chennai. Okay, and all these three, okay, let us say there is a warehouse in Bombay, and let us say there is a factory in Bangalore, and let us say there is a like support group, okay, in Chennai. Now there are a lot of activities which keep happening in Bombay, which keep happening in Bangalore, which keep happening in Chennai, right? And at head office, I'm sitting here, all my directors are sitting here, and my regional heads are sitting in different cities. Plus, after COVID, let us say that work from home has started, and because of that, my employees are sitting all over the world, and everybody's information, everybody's work, I need to track somehow. So information is coming from 100 different angles to HO. And if you just have a system of, let us say, fax or post or courier, trust me, you will never be able to browse through that information. So what do you mean by information system? A system in which you get information in the way that you want, at the time that you want, at your convenience, to make sure that your management decision making happens perfectly, right? So that is what information system is, and we are going to learn the crux of what this information system is, how it should work. And definitely, to make sure that it is all real time and it all I can use, I need to have technology. I need to have computers, right? So information system per se doesn't need any computers. Okay. But to make sure that it is efficiently used, we need computers and we are going to learn about it, right? So that is with regard to your information systems and technologies in the first, section A that we are going to learn. And then we are going to learn something called as specialist cost and management accounting techniques. Then we are going to learn something called as decision making techniques. Don't worry, I'm going to go in depth in each of these sections in the coming slides. Then we have something called as budgeting and control. We have something called as performance measurement and control. And then we have something called as employability and technology skills. Now, if you're looking at this seminar for the first time, you must be freaking out. What is this names? What is decision making? What is performance measurement? What is employability, technology skills? You don't have to worry. You actually don't have to worry, because I'm going to make this topic so easy for you that you're going to say, okay, all those names, but it's not even difficult, right? You might actually say that. And you might be looking forward to attempting this paper in your final level also in the form of APM. Okay, that is my promise. So you don't have to worry. I will take you through in depth now about all these sections. Now, the first one, with regard to information, which I've already covered. Okay. And we have something called as the second one, that is specialist cost and management accounting techniques. In that we learn something called as activity-based costing, target costing, life cycle costing, throughput accounting, and environmental accounting. Now, activity-based costing, if at all you have done any degree, okay, of commerce background, okay, you know what activity-based costing is, because it's a part of your BCom syllabus. And what is activity-based costing? You all know. See, to say it simply, you divide an entire process into different activities and you assign cost to those activities. Okay. So it is basically something like a redistribution process. Okay. A redistribution process. It is like, instead of saying that in my office, I spent 5,000 rupees today, I will be saying in my office, I spent 1,000 rupees for breakfast, 500 rupees for puja expense, 1,000 rupees again for lunch, and 500 rupees for tea. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So basically, I'm bifurcating the total cost and I'm assigning it to different activities. It's all simple as that. And I'm going to cover a lot of problems. I'm going to cover different sectors in those problems, different manufacturing sector, service sector. I'm going to cover a lot of things. Okay. So you don't have to worry about that. And what is target costing? Okay. What is life cycle costing, throughput costing, throughput accounting, and environmental accounting. These are all small concepts. And I'm going to go in depth on these topics as the time comes. I'm just going on a overview of what is there and what is not there. And I'm sure that if you have concentrated on any of your classes, except for the people who have gone for COVID batches, okay, I'm going to talk about them. But in case you have done any of the degrees, okay, in your commerce field, I'm sure that you have heard something called as target costing, life cycle costing, and all that. So don't worry, I'm going to cover that in depth. That is a section B. Now, section B comparatively closes earlier. Okay, we can finish it early. Okay, but the real challenge, or let us say the real the factor which provides a lot of fear to the students, okay, instills a lot of fear, is the section C, that is decision making techniques. Okay, in decision making techniques, what are we going to learn? We are going to learn relevant cost analysis. Okay, what is relevant to my decision making? Which cost is relevant? Which cost is irrelevant? Okay, for my decision making, those kind of analysis we are going to learn. And cost volume profit analysis, we are going to learn cost volume profit analysis, CVP. You might have heard this topic in BCom or any other professional courses as marginal costing. Okay, that we are going to learn in this topic. Then we are going to learn something called as limiting factors. Okay, limiting factor is something like, for example, imagine that you have a great mission in which you can produce 20,000 items in a day, but you have only one mission in which you can do quality checkup. Okay, and that mission can do only 5,000 in a day. So what is the use of having a mission which can produce 20,000 units a day if you can only pass through the final test mission by only 5,000 units, right? So that mission which passes the 5,000 units only is my limiting factor. Okay, generally saying, okay, I'm just generally explaining to you in a few sentences what are we going to learn in this limiting factor. Then pricing decisions. I am getting into a new market. How do I price my product? Okay, should I do it on the basis of cost? Should I do it on the basis of my margin? Should I do it on the basis of how much of opportunity cost is being lost, etc.? There are a lot of other things which we are going to learn in pricing decisions. Okay, trust me, this pricing decision is not very much from the market point of view, more from the cost point of view, but we are going to look at market point of view also while we are discussing. So stay tuned. It's a very interesting topic for me. Pricing decision is one of the favorite topics to go through, right? Then we have something called as make or buy decision, short-term decisions, dealing with risk and uncertainty and decision making. So basically some part of budgeting, okay, for big missionaries, big project, that also will form part of my discussion. Okay, although it is there in the next section, okay, which is budgeting and control. Okay, what is budgeting? Simply, I need to have a budget in order to make sure that I spend the right amount of time and spend the right amount of money. Okay, or I make enough money. Okay, I need to have a proper budgeting and I need to have a proper control. When I say control, what do I mean? I mean that whether I'm reaching my targets, whether I'm reaching my budgets, whether I'm reaching my standards, I need to learn about that. So section D is also like section C. It's a time-taking, section where we'll be learning about budgetary systems. We'll be learning about quantitative techniques, standard costing. You might have heard before, material mix, yield variances, sales mix, quantity variances, planning and operational variances, and performance analysis. We are going to learn about those as well, right? And then we have performance measurement and control. Okay, here we are going to measure the performance. Okay, so until now we were making decisions, we were budgeting, we were controlling. Now we are measuring our performance. How do we do that? Performance analysis in private sector organization, divisional performance and transfer pricing. Okay, transfer pricing, and then performance analysis for not-profit organizations and public sector, and external considerations and impact on performance. So it's more of a outward looking kind of a view from the costing. That also we are going to learn. And then we have something called as employability and technology skills, in which we are going to learn the use of computer technology to efficiently assess and manipulate relevant information. This is another very interesting way of going through the subject. Work on relevant responses using available functions and of technology as it would be required in the workplace. We are going to look at a lot of practical examples. I'm going to give you where you'll get a lot of understanding as to how these systems usually work. And then we have navigating windows and computer screens to create and amend responses to exam requirements using the appropriate tools, right? So we know that the computer-based examinations are here to stay, right? And then we are supposed to know like how to operate with them. That also we are going to learn, and present data and information effectively using the appropriate tools. And what are those tools? We are going to go through that when we get there, right? So this is your syllabus in a nutshell, right? So this is what is going to happen in the complete syllabus, okay, for for the amount of time that we are going to go through this topic, right? So then we have something called as key areas in ACCA performance management. Now, advanced costing techniques, definitely we will be having, okay, not as advanced as APM paper, okay, the final level paper or the professional level paper, what we call, not as in depth as that, but it is advanced enough for the students who are going through this. And then we have decision making techniques, we have budgeting and advanced variances, financial and non-financial performance measures. Now here, what are they talking about? They are talking about what has been upgraded from management accounting and what has become more prominent and important in performance management paper. Okay, so that's what they're talking about. So that is that, right? So how does your examination look like? Are you up for it? I believe that everybody is here. Okay, so pay attention. These things are very important. I'm just putting an outline for your subject, so pay very good attention to what I'm talking about. I'm going to talk about exam and its duration and how it's going to work. It's like 10 minutes for reading instructions in 3 hours. And in section A, section B, section C, your examination is divided into 3 sections. First, you will get this 15 MCQs, which you will knock out of the park, straight out. Okay, you are going to knock it out of the park for sure, because we are going to go through so many of the multiple choice questions. I believe that we are going to exhaust all the multiple choice questions and we will not have anything left, right? So with that, what's going to happen is, there are only so many questions available, to be honest with you. At the performance management level, there are only so many questions which can come, okay? Or so many types of questions, I can say. Or one or two surprises are always there in any of the professional examinations, okay, that you know. But if you make a proper effort as per what I say, this 15 MCQs, you can knock it out of the park easily. You're going to get these marks without any problem. Then we have section B, that is 3 scenario based questions, each having 5 multiple choice questions. Each scenario contains 10 marks. Okay. So what's going to happen here? Multiple choice only, but it's not singular questions. What is going to happen here? I'm going to give you a scenario, and for every scenario, I'm going to ask you five questions. Okay, marks will remain the same. Okay, no, Tarun, no. And in section C, I have 2 long questions. Okay, 20 marks each for the constructed response. Now, this is where the students actually go wrong. Okay, this is where most of the students will make mistakes. Big questions. ACCA have that one habit of giving a lot of material to read, not in your before the examination. See, if you're writing one paper in one attempt, don't tell me I've got a lot of material. Okay, if at all you have, of course you have idea about other professional courses where you have to write 4 papers or 8 papers together. So you have zero, chances to give me any of the thing like, sir, I did not have time to read. The content is too much. If you're writing one paper and if you're telling me the content is too much, probably you're in the wrong course. Trust me on that. Okay, you're writing one paper, content is never more. Content is always less. But the problem with ACCA is the questions that they give in their examination for this essay type questions. That is where the problem is. They'll give you a long question and you have to read the long question. With the reading, what is the problem? What is the problem with students? I'll tell you what the problem is with students is. The problem with students is they don't read at all. Okay. They are going to assume that they have read, and they assume a lot of things. Whenever my class is also going on, I have seen this. Okay. Yes, Tarun, good. So the problem is understanding is also a problem. Understanding, I'll tell you what the problem is. You guys, the students, their attention span is very less. Okay. So if I give you a 2-page question, right? So you read the first page, you go to the second page, then you forget what you read in the first page. That is your problem. So with that, what you'll do, you'll read the question once, you'll remember it like 25%. Then you read it again, you remember 50%. Third time you'll read it, you'll remember 75%. What is going to happen here is, because you're not read it in a proper constructed approach, you will forget, okay, the content of the question, and you will waste a lot of time. Okay. To avoid that, I'm going to teach you how to read the question. Okay. In ACCA questions especially, okay, it is too much in APM paper at the final level, but in this level also that practice is there. Too much of irrelevant information in the question. Too much of irrelevant information. I don't want to know certain details about the company. I don't want to know what the name of the CEO is. I don't want to know what is their business line, what is their branch, what is their future plans, I don't want it, right? What I want, give me numbers, boss. What is the question? Okay, you asked me about some CVP analysis. Okay. So first I write down what do I need for CVP analysis. Then I go to the question and I hunt down for the data, right? I don't care about anything else. I just want my 20 marks. Thank you. Right? So that should be the attitude. Okay. And how to get that attitude, I'm going to get that with you. Okay. Whenever I'm going through this entire syllabus, probably today's, entire session, I'm going to talk about the examination, the pattern itself, but it's okay. We have to spend this time in order to make sure that I instill enough confidence in you to make sure that you will, confidently approach this paper. I don't want anybody coming to my place with half confidence, right? Nobody comes into my class with half confidence. I know that most of you might be working or doing something else, or you might be busy, you might be not able to concentrate, or you might be tired. Usually what happens is when you come in the evening, you're already tired, right? So I don't want people coming to me and saying that, sir, I have not prepared yet I want to attempt. No, when you come to my class, you have to be whole-minded. And when you're whole-minded, I'll be able to approach, make you study better. So do what you gotta do, take bath, eat, okay, or do whatever you want to do. But when you come to my class, I want you with full concentration. And trust me, if you attend my classes and if you know all the concepts that I teach you in the class, yes, 50-60% of your work is already done. Okay, that promise I can do to you, right? Next, there is a note. Each exam will aim for approximately 50% of the marks for calculations and 50% for discussion, but may also go far as 40-60 either way. What I have observed is that 40 marks straight out of calculations, 60 marks, okay, is for applied, okay, theory, okay, applied theory. It is true. Okay, this is how this entire examination is going to do. Okay, so if you go to the final level of PM paper, it is even more. Okay, I can say that it is 30-70. Okay, the calculations hold very less value. Doesn't mean that they are not to be done. Okay, and we have to make sure that we do this 40-60 kind of preparation, okay, in our mind, and we have to make sure that it is done accordingly. Let me go further. Okay, this is something that I wanted to talk to you about, the pitfalls. Okay, the thinking that students will have before approaching this paper. Okay, so if at all anybody has the attitude of I know it all, you don't need these classes. Okay, if at all you are thinking that yes, I need to approach this paper in the right way, then you have to avoid doing this, and I'll make sure you will avoid doing this. First thing is thinking that this exam is all about numbers. It is not all about numbers. I already told you it is a 40-60 ratio. And even in this 40, without knowing concepts, you cannot answer. Okay. Then secondly, you can just say general things. It's theory, right? Anyway, so I can just write general points, right? You can just wing it. Your vocabulary or your knowledge of English, you can just lay it over there, right? It is not so. You have to make sure that your words, your phrases, your costing, the terminologies, you have to use it perfectly. That is when you will clear the exams. And then you can pass on the MCQs. Trust me. Some of the choices that you get are so confusing, right? You will not understand how to go ahead and answer it. Okay. So you have to make sure that you practice enough. You can't just pass on MCQs. That is not possible. Section C marks are also very important. Then you have, you say that you don't have a plan. Students, if you don't have a plan, you have to close this video and start planning first. Okay. I'm going to help you plan. Okay. When I start with the syllabus, when I start with the classes, but you have to make sure that you have a plan. If you don't have a plan, nothing works. And this is not limited to only the exam. This is this is for all your life, right? If you don't have a plan, you won't succeed. It's as simple as that. And then you can question spot. What is question spotting? Question spotting is what you used to do in your BCom. Remember, take last 3-year question papers and start scouting, right? Oh, so this question came over here, which means that this question will not come the next time. So I have seen that there are totally 17 questions. Out of that, 16 questions have already come. One question has not come, which means in my attempt, that question will come. Whether that kind of logic will work, question spotting will work. Question spotting definitely will not work in ACCA. So these are the pitfalls. Pitfalls means what, right? You're just going and jumping into the well. Okay, thinking any of these things, if you believe, you should stop believing that immediately. All right, going next. You can go to this frequently asked questions in the ACCA global portal, where you will have a lot of questions answered for you. That is also possible. And what is the strategy? Strategy is very simple. Don't skip any of the topics. Theory is equally important. I already told you. Yes, Tarun, you are right. In professional exams, that kind of attitude will not work, right? And practical will help you score. Okay. And read all the articles that are relevant to PM in students. Okay, there's a portal, you have to read it. Then develop business awareness. That is also possible. That I'll make sure. Okay, whenever we are talking about any of the industries, I'll give you so many of the secrets and funny things about that sector. You will be having fun in my class. I promise you that. Keep your answers clear, short and crisp. Okay, that's how it's going to work. No need to write your entire biography when they ask you just for the name. Okay, that's the usual example that I give. When they ask your name, you tell your name. That's all, right? Then solve past papers and check examiner's report. This we are going to do during our class. Take mock exams. Trust me, we have a very good mock exams lined up for you. Okay, at various levels, we have mock exams lined up for you in Indigo Learn and OneFin. And manage time in exam. Okay, section E and B. So how to manage this, I will tell you. Okay, once we progress. Okay, I am going to have a proper timing, discussion also with you with regard to performance management. And trust me, my experience in teaching for ACCA performance management and APM for so many years and so many students will help you in this regard. And then preparation, revision, and mock. Okay, this is the usual process. Okay, so what is the time which is taken for preparation? Is the time that you spend in the class. Okay, I believe that if you come for the next class, you have to learn what is done in the previous class. Okay, or else you'll just be coming here just to listen to me and make sure that my voice is drained. I don't want that. Okay, I want you to study. I want you to pass. That is the whole total. Like, see, I don't want to put my efforts where these efforts are going to waste. Okay. So if at all you are sitting in my class, you have to make sure that you put enough efforts to clear the examination. That is where I get my satisfaction. Okay. So I need satisfaction. So that is why I study. Okay. That is what I'm requesting you. Okay. And to be honest, I'm interested to teach this topic because I like this topic. Okay. And I want to make sure that everybody who goes through this topic from me, okay, will definitely clear the exam. And then we have in ACCA, okay, by OneFin or Indigo Learn, what do we provide? We provide live classes, which will be taken by me. And we have recorded backup with unlimited views, okay, which no other coaching class will provide for you. Okay, no other training center will provide for you. And we give you Kaplan material. Okay, Kaplan and BPP are the most reputed, and Becker also. Like, there are most reputed materials which are there. We'll provide you that mock test at 50%, 75%, and 100%. And trust me, okay, we are going to provide you Kaplan e-notes, okay, e-material. It's not a printed material, okay. And as everything is electronic in this era, okay, that shouldn't be bothering you, okay. That e-material is more than enough. And mock tests at these levels, okay. Probably if time is there and if we require, we can take another mock test also. That is also possible. And we have a beautiful system in Indigo Learn called as forums, where you can post questions with regard to any subject that you're learning in Indigo Learn, and the faculties, the support team, myself, we will be there for you to answer any of your queries. Okay, so there's a proper hierarchy set for answering the questions. Okay, the difficult questions, the easy questions, we will not leave anything. We'll make sure that the questions need to be relevant, of course, and we are going to answer it for you. Okay, so what are you thinking about? Enroll for the course. Okay, and let us start this journey with the full josh, and let us make sure that the next attempt which is going to come for ACCA is going to be the winning attempt for all of you. And this is a small introduction to ACCA paper, that is performance management. Thank you all.